The studio is Ellie Hochenberg, our diplomatic correspondent, and Jeremy Saltan. He's a spokesman and a local branch leader of the Jewish Home Party. Let me start with you, Jeremy. Jewish Home Party, they're really the driving force behind this arrangements law. You've won the battle. Are you worried you might lose the war in the Supreme Court?
We're actually very confident that we are actually going to win in the Supreme Court. The Deputy Attorney General, who is in charge of the International Law Department, is actually in favor of this law. He says that it has a constitutional standing. Of course, the Attorney General himself does not agree with that, but I'll remind you that he is actually a political position as opposed to the professional position of the Deputy AG in this case. So I think that if the opposition thought that this was actually going to get struck down, they would have not tried to have 38 days of discussions on the bill and try to filibuster it. I think that counter to what people are discussing, this bill is actually going to remain on the books.
Ellie, we heard French President Hollande in Paris severely criticizing this law. What about international reaction? We don't know yet what the Trump administration say. What's been the reaction so far? What might come out of Washington?
Well, we all knew it was coming, and indeed throughout the day, international condemnations of this newly approved bill were pouring in. I hope we can see now on screen the row of condemnations only one day after the very friendly and warm meeting between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and UK Prime Minister Theresa May. Britain attacked this legislation, saying that as a long-standing friend of Israel, it must warn that it puts Israel in a very dangerous place. France followed suit very quickly, urging Israeli lawmakers to withdraw this legislation. The German Foreign Ministry released its own harsh condemnation too, saying it is very disappointed by this move. The UN too raised its voice, charging the law crosses a very thick red line. Again, what about the most powerful nation on earth? Washington refused to comment on this bill because of the legal sensitivity at the moment, and you know that the Trump administration already had a very bitter experience with laws being brought down by the Supreme Court, and this, however, creates further ambiguity as for the emerging policy of Trump vis-a-vis Israel and the settlements in Israel. We don't hear much today.
Okay, we're talking about international reaction. Let's